Welcome everybody to the second in the most marvelous, amazing series with Sue Carberry. And this second series is a free astrology class for a whole year. Like we've just gone through a whole year with Sue Carberry. She's incredibly generous, incredibly experienced. 40 odd years of astrology experience, and I'm absolutely thrilled and delighted and honored that she is allowing me to host her second series in this incredible course for beginners and refreshers. And series two is the 12 signs and houses in depth. And what she's going to be doing, I'm sure she's going to explain in all details, but she's going to be going through each star sign every month, but how it relates to you and your chart and what that means for you. So every single month is going to be relative to you. And of course, the whole series comes with a private WhatsApp group where she guides and supports and helps you learn as you go through the year and as between the Zoom calls. So without further ado, Sue, all over to you.
Okay, right. Before we go on, I just really want to clarify something. I've been asked to do some charts. I am a psychological astrologer and I look at transits, and I've been asked for relocation work. Now, the one thing that we have to understand about any form of divination or any form of occult sciences, for want of a better word, nothing is set in stone because you have free will. Remember the moving sliding doors? You make one different choice and you'll end up on a different pathway. My specialty is psychological. So, where do you shoot yourself in the foot? Transits, why is life so difficult for me right now? How long is it going to last? What areas of my life do I need to work on? That's my specialty. That's my thing. I'm not a relocation. I'm not a horary, and I'm not a electional astrologer. Horary is sort of looking. You go for it. It's like the fortune telling sort of thing. Electional is like, what's the best date to get married, sign a contract, etc. They're just complete like black holes for me. I don't know that one. So I'm looking at how two charts affect each other and what is going on with me. So, and the other thing as well, nothing is set in stone. And if you follow the advice and it goes tits up, then I'm not to blame. You had free will there. So I don't go there. So if you want a psychological profile, have a look at your transits. Why is life really heavy at the moment? What's going on? Why do I not get on with my brother? I can help you to understand and possibly answer some of those questions. So I thought I'd just make that really clear as to what my specialty is so that there's no confusion.
That's amazing, Sue, and really
That's okay.
clear.
Hmm.
And thank you for clarifying that because it's really important because as I'm learning that all astrologers have their own kind of speciality.
Hmm.
And just have a quick question already. So
Yep.
transits means the planets are moving through your sign in a certain way. That's the transit.
A transit is, where is the planet in the sky at the moment? And is it hitting you personally? I.e., do you have anything at 0 degrees of cardinal, which is Aries, Libra, Capricorn, or Cancer? Because right now we have Neptune and Saturn at 0 degrees of Aries, which is 0 degrees of the cardinal signs. Therefore, those to that conjunction, and a conjunction is where you're together, that it's affecting you. So if you've got your sun at 0 of Capricorn, 0 of Cancer, those two planets are going to be hitting you by square. If you have 0 Libra, those two planets are hitting you by opposition. So if I'm going to have a look at how it is personally affecting you, I have a look at where in your chart these two planets are, and where in the chart the planet that it's either in opposition or square is being hit. Now, I don't mention the sextile or the trine because that's where the energy flows. When you're looking at transits, you're looking at irreconcilable differences, hardships, because we don't need help when things are going well. So why am I feeling out of sorts? Why do I feel lonely? Why do I feel isolated? Well, Neptune and Saturn might be squaring your sun or your moon. And when we're looking at these, we're only looking at the personal planets, which is why the 12 little shots that I added to the WhatsApp group, it's only to do with your personal planets. The generational planets last 7 years or more in a sign, and that affects a large portion of the population. So when you're looking at things that affect you personally, you only look at the outer planets when they hit you by transits, or in your natal chart, like me, is Pluto and Uranus opposing my moon? Is it opposing my Mars and my Neptune, my Mercury, I'm sorry? They're personal planets. So what effect does the Uranus and Pluto in opposition to my personal planets? That's a bit of a, because first of all, they're in opposite signs and they're hitting my personal planets. So my feeling, my communication, my action. So something could come along and hit that in a positive way and then have a positive effect. Something can come along in a negative aspect and have a more difficult, because nothing is truly negative. Because in the pain or in the discomfort is where we find our healing. And that's where we find our liberation. And if you're sitting on a decision, then you either make a decision and go with it or wait. Whenever I need to make a decision, I use an intuitive traffic light system. Green and red, well, they're obvious. It's a definite yes and a definite no. But if I've got a not too sure, I sit and I wait, and it will turn to one color or the other, and then I act accordingly. So we always have to come back to personal responsibility for your choices in life. And you may not think that you have a personal choice, but you always do. Because if you have a difficult situation in your life, you have a choice to either welcome it and say, okay, what am I learning here? I'm uncomfortable. This hurts. But through the transformation of the difficult, you heal and you move forward. Because we never move forward and heal when we're happy. It's only ever when we're in a deep black hole going, oh my God, when's this going to end? What's going on? And take personal responsibility. There.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Yeah,
Sue. So
that's okay.
is it, tell us about, so the first sign you're going to be doing today is Aries.
Aries. Yes. I need sharing.
Got that bit, sorry.
That's okay. Right.
You have it.
There we go. Okay. Then I need to go to my background. Oh, okay.
While we're waiting for Sue, everyone's got their chart up? You've got your chart, okay?
Have your chart with you. Always have your chart with you. Have your always. That's why I can't actually um I can't actually say more strongly. You need to know your chart. When you know your chart, and for some reason I can't get my screen up. Right. Right, I've done 3 documents. Right, we'll get there in the end. Here we go. Right, can everyone see that?
Can't see anything
Thumbs up.
yet, but something's happened. Yes.
Okay. So remember I did this last time. So we went through, Aries is a positive sign. It's cardinal and it's fire. It's ruled by Mars, and there's its little glyph for Aries. 0 degrees of Aries is the beginning of the natural zodiac. And what I mean by a natural zodiac is 0 degrees of Aries, then you go through all 12 signs and finish at 29 degrees of Pisces. That's the natural zodiac. And you turn the wheel to create your ascendant and create things. And your ascendant is created by your time of birth. So just to recap, Aries is a go-getter. It's ruled by Mars. Mars is just action. They can be argumentative, they can be a bit arrogant, they can be combative, but they get shit done. Aries, being the first sign of the zodiac, can be a bit juvenile, but they can be childlike. Rules the head, so they can have headaches, eye problems. So starting at the top, Aries, and feet finishing at Pisces. I didn't put the health things in. So it also governs the first house. So the first house, no matter what your ascendant is, your first house represents your first impressions, your physicality. It's the filter which you experience life, which is why I myself, with 6 things in Pisces, comes across like an Aries, like a Leo, because my ascendant and first house is ruled by Leo. Outgoing, gregarious. So the first house is always representative by your physicality. I can see that in my work. Someone who's got Cancer on the ascendant can have issues around fluid balance and edema, same with Pisces. So someone who's got Aries on the ascendant, because it's fire, will be quite muscular and quite lithe and quite physically strong. Yep. What can I do for you?
So the ascendant is the horizon. I'm just
Correct.
I've got the line just in
You got a 26,
Leo,
27 degrees of Leo. So that's your ascendant. I remember your chart.
29,
There you go.
29, 9 degrees Leo. So
Yep.
the ascendant is because the ascendant that's just in Leo, so it's Leo.
Yep. And then I would look at where your sun is, which is your ruler, and your sun is in Pisces. So your chart ruler is your sun in Pisces because it's ruled by Leo, same with mine. So we're looking at, when you think of Aries, think of an athlete, competitive, driven, to get to the top of to the corporate ladder. They're usually very good athletes. They can be driven to succeed. And not all Aries can finish. They can sort of like lose their way and get bored. But generally speaking, if you want someone like a boxer, Aries. You want an athlete, Aries. And we'll have a look at some famous people because I've got a big list. So we're looking at the rulership of Mars, and Mars rules Aries. It's very simple. Mars is a planet of action. How you compare? Yep. What can I just say? Yep.
I've got Mars in Aries, but it's not
Yep.
in the first house. So
No, it's not.
does that strengthen what that
Okay.
house means in Aries?
It means that Mars is very strong in Aries, so Mars will dominate. Because it's in rulership, it will create a very strong Mars in you. So even though your ascendant is Leo and your sun is in Pisces, that Mars will give you a determination and courage and strength that is sometimes lacking in Pisces. Are you starting to connect dots here?
The beginning, bit by bit.
Yep. So when we're looking at an
Thank you.
Aries Mars, and I look at someone's chart, I go, oh, they're determined. They will get shit done because that Mars is in really seriously strong place in Mars, no matter what house it's in. It's at home in its own sign. So now we'll go through how each planet is influenced by being in Aries. So if your moon is in Aries, it's not good because moon rules Cancer. So your Aries moon could be fast and fiery. You can't hide your emotions. It's on your face. You can be intense and impatient. So we can see the Mars area coming through the moon here. And the same with Mercury, fast mind, fast speech patterns, outspoken, again, easily bored, impulsive. So we can see that the Mercury to do with your communication style will get bored with someone who is more linear, logical, and can't bounce around and come up with ideas. So an Aries, a Mercury Aries, I get on with them quite well, but they do speak really quickly and little, because they can be quite impulsive. Venus in Aries, not good because Venus is in full. It's in its opposite sign because the opposite sign of Aries is Libra. And what rules Libra? Venus. You have a Venus in Aries, it's not a good position. It's in what's called its detriment or fall. But they can be passionate and impulsive. So they can be the love bomber, but they can also be the excitement, easily bored, so they may not be the best to be in romantic relationship with, but great mates. And they can be quite fickle, mood changing things because of that Mars energy that is coming through in Venus. Mars, well, there we go. Mars in its own sign is powerful, it's direct, it's pioneering, it's competitive, it's motivated, always on the go. So Mars in Aries doesn't stop. You know, mind will be going. You think, how can I do this next? What? Always on the go, always looking for something to do or a new idea. And there's a word that keeps popping up along here, and that's pioneering and passionate, impulsive. So after our Mars, we're looking at Jupiter. Yep. What's up, Althea?
I'm just clarifying, I've forgotten, how do we know which house it's in? So where you've got the number 8, for example, that line, the first line, that's where that house is. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Thank you.
That's okay. So the house will show you where in your life this will be displayed. So if you've got Venus in Aries in the first house, it'll be very physical. If you've got Venus in the fifth house, you could be a bit of a cad and a bounder and a Casanova because the fifth house is all about love affairs. So depending where it is, and like if you've got Mars in Aries up the top of your chart in the sixth house, you'll be driven to climb the corporate ladder. So, and if it's in your sixth house, you'll be driven with health, hygiene, and work, but not career. And if it's in your 11th house, you'll be very dynamic in groups and love group activities and go on hiking expeditions and rally the troops and climb mountains and do assault courses and whatnot in groups. So when you know your 12 houses and where things are in your chart, you can then see, my Mars in Aries is in my sixth house. How does that manifest in my life? Any questions? Nope. Moving on to
So,
Jupiter. Yep,
so my Mars in Aries is in my ninth house, I think. No,
that will,
so, yes, I think so the line of 9 is going into Aries. So that would
yep.
mean
Is it before the line or after the line?
Mars Mars is before the line,
Then
but the
it's in the
line is
eighth
in
house.
Aries.
Then that means your Mars, sorry, is in the eighth house. If it's after the line, it's in the ninth house. So it's in your eighth house. What does the eighth house represent? Come on.
Outer Worlds.
Yeah,
Um,
but who owns that house?
I don't know.
You work in the arena. It's Scorpio, that which is hidden. You work in healthcare, you work in digging down to help people find out to the core of their being to help them heal and move forward. It also represents other people's resources, other people's finances. So, eighth house Mars makes you very proactive within eighth house. But if you go back to the beginning of the eighth house and see where the line is, that's the ruler of the eighth house, which may not be Aries. Aries rules your ninth.
Pisces. The
There you
eighth line
go.
is going in Pisces.
So your eighth house is ruled by Pisces, but you've got Mars in Aries in the eighth house, which means that the work that you're doing is works with your eighth house, Aries Mars. You get stuff done, and you're not frightened of going down into the depths of people's pain because it's the warrior. Mars in Aries is a warrior. It's that warrior energy. Any other queries or questions, guys? Nope. Okay. Jupiter, the biggest planet, it's called the benefic. Saturn is the malefic. Jupiter is the benefic. Jupiter in Aries. Oh, powerful, really powerful. Um, you would probably find a lot of leaders or pioneers back in the old days with Jupiter in Aries, like going off into the unknown where the maps haven't been drawn yet, like Magellan, like Captain Cook, like all of those dudes that went off, and my brain has completely gone blank at these dudes. Captain Columbus, you know, Jupiter in Aries. Yeah, let's just go over there. We don't know whether we're going to drop off the horizon, but let's give it a bloody good shot, shall we, son? Jupiter in Mars ruled Aries. Dynamic individuals, powerful, big energy. You can't miss them, and they're always beavering about doing something. Yes, what's
Jupiter
up?
makes things big. Is that right? Is that the right thing to
Jupiter
say?
expands whatever it hits for good or ill. It does not have a conscience, depending what it hits and where it hits. I know someone who had Jupiter opposite Moon, and he was a glutton. If he got into drugs, he wanted more of them. If he got into food, he wanted more of it. He wanted bigger, and it caused him a lot of health problems. Jupiter in Aries opposite or connecting with something where you might spend your money on nice things because you just want more of it. Whatever makes you feel good, Jupiter will want more for good or ill. So Jupiter is great in the right context. Wrong context, it can kill you because you could end up having heart-related issues from eating too much nice fried food or something, or sugars. It's indiscriminate. So, but Jupiter in Aries, you know these people. They're dynamic. All right. Any other questions before we go into Saturn? Nope. Okay. Now, Saturn is in fall because it used to be the ruler of Libra, the opposite of Aries, before. No, it's exalted in Saturn, but it's not the ruler of Libra. But I don't know why. Hold on a minute. Don't know. I'm not quite sure why it's in fall. It's in it's strong in Libra, which makes it weak in Aries. My brain's just had a scramble. I do apologize. It's in fall and it's locate opposite its rulership, but the rulership is not Libra, but it's at home in Libra. This is one of these things that will send you down a sort of like a bit of a mind scramble. But for some reason, Saturn is at home in Libra, which makes it uncomfortable in Aries. And I'll come back to you. I'll put it on the WhatsApp group as to why. So it forces discipline, which Aries doesn't like because it's Mars. It also can give you the misfit energy and it requires structure, and Mars doesn't like structure. So you put Saturn into a sign that just wants to go outside and play all the time, or and you restrict it. So the person who's got Saturn in Aries can have a difficult time, and they can feel like the rug's always being pulled or nothing works out. Well, that's because you need to bring in structure into your life. So Saturn in Aries is telling you got to knuckle down. So the generational planets, any questions on Saturn before we move on? And I will get back to you on that, why it's in fall.
Yeah, I've got that. So I've got Saturn right in the middle of in the eighth house, but in Aries.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly, I'm floaty Pisces. And I also had
Mm-hmm.
an Aries dad who was very disciplined and methodical.
Mm-hmm.
And I found that he was a lovely, good man, but I found him clashed a lot and found it very difficult
But
because
what
he
he was,
held my bubble down.
yeah, but he needed to because you needed that bubble burst and you banged your head against it. But he was one of your biggest teachers to try and instill discipline and instill groundedness and put in structure. And you just went, no. So you clashed with him because if you're Pisces, if you'd learned that lesson, your life would have been very different. But you didn't like it because it made you feel uncomfortable. But there's a big lesson because if you implement structure and groundedness and discipline into your life, life goes so much easier in many ways. Life is difficult. Life is hard. Part of me can't wait to check out and sort of like, bye, I'm out of here. But I'm here. So, onwards and upwards. Any other questions on Saturn in Aries? Okay. The generational planets. So the last time Uranus was in Aries was between 2011 and 2018. And if we look at the time, that's when social media popped up on our horizon. And it also popped up all of the gender ideology stuff that started to come to the fore during this transit. And Uranus is about revolution, and Aries is about the individual, me, I. So Uranus gives a revolution, a so like tripping out, don't want to be part of the crowd for the individualist. And that's where the social media came up. All of the stuff on social media popped up primarily during Uranus going through Aries. So that's what was happening on the planet. The way you personalize this is again, what house was it in? For Althea, it was eighth and ninth. So she would have quite possibly gone through a revolution in the way she worked with her occult sciences, for want of a better word, her healing, and what do I want, where do I want to go. Then when it moved over into your ninth house, that would have been higher learning. So you may have gone and done some more education to do with what you fell in love with back in the eighth house. And you're pushing forward with it. Then when Uranus went into Taurus, you then brought it into being because Taurus is all about the physical, the material. So that's what your journey could have been about with Uranus transiting through your sign and through your chart. Any questions, guys? No? Okay. Neptune. Well, we haven't sort of seen a Neptune in Aries for a long time because it's a 165-year cycle. But the next one is going to be 26 through to 38. We've just started it. Neptune, religion and spirituality, lies, deceit. When it hits Aries, ruled by Mars, we're going to see an awful lot of lives and untruths dissolved. The astrologer community is saying major changes to religion because religion is full of lies and untruths, especially when it comes to things like female related issues. Adam's rib, yeah, right. So there's going to be an awful lot of changes with organized religion and it become more spirituality. And our social media is going to help with that because that's how we're going to get the information. The information is going to come through our laptops, our phones. And it's interesting that the lies and the untruths are already coming out with regards to America, Donald Trump. We're going to see changes around the whole world, actually, the Western world. We are going through a reckoning. Things like who really started the war between Russia and Ukraine. Africa is probably going to find their own roots and cast off all the shackles of previous colonialism, because it's all about the individual, Neptune, individual, and you have to do your own work. You've got to put the time and effort in to go in. And Jesus said it, the truth, the kingdom of heaven lies within. That's meditation. That's going inwards. That's doing the work. That's Scorpio. Go in, put your hard hat on, and get brutally honest, because your life is of your making, and how you relate to your life. And if you believe, like I do, that you agreed to come down here with certain people that cause pain, because through that is your healing, Neptune and Pluto, bless, help with that. Now, the next time we're going to see Pluto is 2063 and 2098. None of us are going to be around to see this one. And we can only guess what, because the last time was 1822 to 1853. And that was at the end of the Industrial Revolution. So we had industry completely revolutionized the way we live our lives. We could have transformation of energy away from polluting energies and into free energy. AI, who knows? I put Starfleet because we already go, hello, you know, you walk down an escalator and you got all the of the underground, and you got all of the flat screen TVs. And rumor has it that we're going to have more interaction with ETs. We are not alone, and I know that. So there's every likelihood that within the next couple of years, because of Neptune as well, we're going to have some first contact. That would be exciting to me. And as Stephen Hawking said, anybody that can get to us, or any life form that can get to us, we're in deep shit, because we can't get to them. Their technology is far superior to ours. So Chiron. Oh, any questions about Pluto? Nope. Chiron, the wounded healer. It's been transiting since 2018 and will continue till next year. The wound of existence. Why am I here? What is the purpose of life? Self-worth, identity. It's been a really deep healing process with Chiron going through Aries, because Chiron in Pisces is about the wounding of the group, the many. Chiron is the wounding of the individual. Why am I here? What's my purpose in life? It's really deep. If you've got a Chiron in Aries, you've got some deep work happening, and already been doing. Any questions around Chiron?
Do I understand to read it correctly? So I've got Chiron in Pisces in my
Yep, like
eighth
me.
house.
Yep, like me. I've got Chiron in Pisces, and mine is conjunct the moon. How I would read that: my moon represents my mother. It's in Pisces in the eighth house, and Chiron is there. My wounds were created by a mother who was an alcoholic and single parent. Pisces is a sign of addiction and substance. So my wounds, Chiron, was created by my mother. So that is my out. The eighth house through the pain is how I heal. Not that I had much to heal with, because a lot of it didn't cut deep. A lot of it didn't affect me because I got a weird brain. But Chiron is a wounded healer. Chiron is a key to your healing. And it's
When you
also the
say key, and when you say key to healing, so how would you? So the eighth house is intimacy, it's death, it's rebirth, it's psychological
mm-hmm,
transformation.
yep.
So how would you understand that for yourself? What's the
Psychotherapy, psychotherapy. Pluto is psychotherapy. Anything that goes deep. When you're looking at eighth house, you're looking at Scorpio. Scorpio doesn't do light and fluffy. Scorpio does BDSM. Scorpio does deep psychotherapy, literally rebuilding. So if you've got Chiron in your eighth house, like I do, you will at some point in your lifetime go deep and rebuild. So the person you are today before your healing is not the person you were. So before and after are two different people. So before you started on your healing journey, you were one Althea, and the person I know is a different Althea because you've done so much deep work. Eighth house is really deep. So it's like ayahuasca or mushroom deep. It's go down into the depths of your being. And that can be really hard because you have to see where you're responsible and playing a role in your own pain. Because ultimately, if your father is up here, he's hurting you every single day. If you're still running that script, it's, you've got to evict that. I can tell my story about my mother and father, but I have absolutely no emotional connection. And I use my story in my work because I'm a firm believer in quid pro quo. If you're going to expose your stuff, I feel I can do that too, because then you can form a bridge and meet in the middle, and then a trust can be built. I don't understand how people can't work as a healer in that way because we're all human. So last thing is North Node. Simple thing, North Node. South Node is where you're coming from this life. North Node is where you're going to. So it's your life path. So anything that hits your North Node is a karmic connection. Also your South Node. So my North Node is in Taurus, and I think yours is too, Althea.
Yeah, from that. So North Node to know the South Node, is it just literally opposite?
Yeah, it's a line straight across your chart. So it
And so
dissects your chart.
so my North Node is 17
Taurus.
in Aries,
Oh, Aries.
in
Okay.
the ninth house. Does that make, am I saying it
Yeah.
right?
So your North Node in Aries in the ninth. You're
Why
coming
does it why does it say 19 and 17 together?
because it's 19 minutes, 19 degrees, 17 minutes. Is there something next to it?
I've got in the eighth house is Saturn, and then next to that Mars
Okay,
in
what's the
Aries.
numbers?
Saturn is 10:49,
Okay.
sorry,
Yep.
and Mars is 8:02. I think
So
that
you've
says.
got 8 and 10. So you've got Saturn Mars conjunction in Aries, but
Mhm.
your North Node is not within orb, not within range of that. So it's sort of sitting alone. Which house is it in? The eighth,
The ninth.
ninth.
North Node is ninth in Aries.
Okay. So your South Node is second in Libra. So that's your comfortable point. South Node in Libra in the South is very comfortable. So you've got to break out of that comfortable South Node and head towards the Aries North Node, which is firebrand, go out, represent yourself, stand alone if necessary, and assert yourself. This is why I'm on the planet. This is what I'm here to do. And I don't care if if I'm not successful, but I've got to give it a shot.
That's
Because
exactly what
Aries
I'm
is a
moving into.
pioneer. Yeah, exactly. But your comfort is back in Libra in nice groups and nice touchy feely. Um, it's in the third house actually, not the second. So your Libra in the third house is to do with communications and short journeys. But the ninth house is higher education. Like this is where you'll find your PhDs, your higher learning. So your goal is to assert yourself and go out into the world and stand up and be counted and stand up for what
Exactly.
you believe in. With that Aries there, yeah, kick butt, girl. And
That's exactly what I'm
don't
doing.
give two hoots what other people think of you.
Thank you.
So here's some famous people. This is a ladies' column and this is the men's column, but you can't see. I couldn't find an awful lot of historical women for obvious reasons. Have you noticed the men's column? There's a running theme. Anyone pick it up?
Quite maverick.
Oh, good one, yeah. We got Thomas Jefferson, electronic. Otto von Bismarck, created the main creator of Germany. Charlemagne, he beat the Ottoman Empire. Isambard Kingdom, Brunel. People laughed at him, thought that some of his ideas were out there. Same with Leonardo. Werner Braunhaun, the alleged inventor of nuclear weaponry. Quentin Tarantino, he's a bit of a weird one, but his movies are amazing. Pharrell Williams is synesthetic. He sees music. Booker T. Washington, an old blues man. Guy Fawkes tried to blow up Parliament. Khrushchev. Now, who remembers Khrushchev? He was an old, during the Cold War, he was the ruler of Russia. Colin Powell, PJ Morgan, Harry Houdini, Descartes, Russell Crowe. We all remember Russell Crowe in Gladiator. And Ayrton Senna, one of the world's finest F1 drivers. And in the ladies' column, Jane Mansfield's Blonde Bombshell. She just stood on her own. This is who I am. Lady Gaga, same thing. Look at Serena Williams' physical strength and Celine Dion's strength with all of her illnesses, bless her heart. Shannon Doherty was one of the first to announce to the world of Harvey Weinstein's misdoings. Maya Angelou, what an amazing poet and groundbreaker coming from Africa. Aretha Franklin, excuse me, all of these ladies are really strong ladies. So we're looking at people who break the mold, people who stand up and go out there no matter what and don't stop. Robert Downey Jr., he was an amazing Rat Pack in the 80s and then fell off into drug and alcohol addiction, then made a comeback doing Iron Man. Jackie Chan, broken every single bone in his body doing martial arts. Only an Aries would do that crazy, crazy stuff. So can we see it's like the running theme here that they're pioneers, that they go it alone and they go at it hard and they create something amazing, or they give us a holiday. Guy Fawkes. You know, anyone got anything to say about this lot?
They're all powerful, as you say. What was it? Was it Jupiter? Is that
Mars, well, this is all Aries Sun. So I would have to look at their charts to have a look at, I mean, when you're looking at someone like Elton John, he was openly flamboyantly gay at a time when it wasn't cool to be. Leonardo da Vinci, he sort of straddled the arts of astrology, astronomy, and science. Werner von Braun, love him or hate him, he brought us nuclear weaponry and nuclear medicine. Oh, and Vincent van Gogh, look at what he did. So they've brought something to the world that is unique to them. Marvin Gaye's singing voice, Spike Milligan's unpredictability, you know. They were unashamedly themselves.
so? This is all a Sun in Aries.
Yeah, these are Sun in Aries because I would have to look at their individual chart to find out where they are. Kate Hudson, that's Goldie Hawn's daughter. Debbie Reynolds, she was married to Tony Curtis and had Jamie Lee Curtis. She was a dancer and a singer. So that, and Keira Knightley. There's a lot of the women on this list have had lots of criticism thrown at them.
All standalone people, aren't they? Real sort of, this is the way I do it, and
Yeah.
that's it. And those who are listening in, how are you finding this lesson today that it relates to your chart? Do you have any ahas or anything you want to ask of Sue?
I find it quite overwhelming and confusing, and it would be quite. What would help me would be to have a visual of what we are discussing to go, to peg it on, because I can't hold that information in my head from.
Oriana, have you got your chart in front of you?
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay, the next one is this. Does that help, Ariana?
Let's see what that says. Tell us.
Okay, the red lines, square. Opposition. So they're the ones that can be difficult. So if something is here, that is a sextile. If something is here, that is a square. And if something is here, that's a trine. A trine is the same element. So the fires all work together in a trine. So the opposite is quite often when you have an opposing. I don't get on with Virgos. They do my head in because I've got so much in Pisces. So my sun and stuff is here. So my opposition and every single star, every single sign, I will do one of these charts. So an opposition is 180 degrees, opposite. A square is a 90 degree, and a sextile is two signs, so that's 60 degrees, and a trine is same element. So a trine for Scorpio would be Cancer and Pisces. Does this help, Ariana?
Yes, it's easier to understand. I still
They're
can't
on the
hold it in my
WhatsApp
head
group.
fully, but
Why?
pardon?
Why can't you do this? What is going on that's blocking you? Explain. Tell me so I can understand, so I can
Okay, so
help
it
you.
feels, I can see what you're saying. I understand what you're
Well, you
pointing
don't.
to.
So what's going on? What
I
happens?
guess I think that it's a lot of information
Yeah, it
to
is.
hold, and
Which is why I would say to anybody who's trying to hold all of it, don't. I really loved the drawings that were put in the group because they reflected this individual's way of working and understanding. So for me, it's discussion and talking. For you, Ariana, it might be get your crayons out, get your colored pencils out and draw it, or start writing things out. However you learn, utilize that way to then, because this is a huge subject, Ariana. There's no easy way to learn this, but it's about going back to the beginning. And all of these are in the group. So certainly download them. And the last one that I've got to share, here's the explanation of what they mean. The sextile, the square, the trine, the opposition, and the conjunction. And this is in the group. I've reshared it. So if you take that point there as Aries and then go down, and sextile, that's harmonious. Square, irreconcilable differences. Trine, harmonious. Opposition, irritation, irreconcilable differences through projection. So most oppositions are uncomfortable because the qualities that you lack, they have. So it can feel uncomfortable. I had a lot of Virgos in my life. And a conjunction, well, that depends on the planets involved. Saturn Moon conjunction, not nice. Venus Mars conjunction, Lothario, especially if it's in a very sexy sign. You got to be very careful of Venus Mars conjunctions. They can talk you into bed very easily because they're charismatic. So a conjunction, these are all on the group. So if you're a visual learner, Ariana, get your pens and pencils out and start drawing. And in the act of drawing it, you will learn. Because when I type out these, I learn again and I'm reinforcing because I'm doing my Googling and looking it up and thinking, oh, okay. Because there's always something. No matter how long you've worked in astrology or worked with astrology, there's always something that you don't know because two astrologers will see the same thing in two different ways.
So when you see these shapes, all these different five things here,
Hmm.
say for example the bottom one, and on the middle point, the black dot, that is the
Hmm.
one you're looking at. So in this case, Aries,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
you
yeah.
go two signs apart. That would be a helpful thing.
Okay. So if we're taking this sextile in the sky right now, if we take this point here, that is 0 degrees of Aries. And right now in the sky, Saturn and Neptune are at 0 Aries. So we go forward 2 signs from Aries will give you Gemini. And at this point, very, very soon, you'll have Uranus going at 0 degrees of Gemini. So they're in happy relationship with each other. They're having a chat, they're having a glass of wine, they're chilling, they're having a great time. You go back to about 2 degrees of Aquarius, you got Pluto. So Pluto, Neptune, and Saturn chilling, having a glass of wine, they're getting on. And then over here, you've got a trine, 2 degrees of Gemini and 2 degrees of Aquarius in air on a trine. You've got Pluto and Uranus. They're not good bedfellows, but in trine, they're getting on. So we've got all the outer planets having a chill time, helping each other out, being in positive relationship to each other. So if you think of all of your relatives, Pluto is the grumpy old man sitting in the corner, uncle whatever. Uranus is the hippy dippy trippy, daughter that's come in who's got her, hair in dreadlocks, and grumpy old Uncle Peter doesn't particularly like it. But because they're in trine, they're actually having a conversation that isn't accusatory or angry. And then over here in Neptune and Saturn, you got maybe mum and dad. Dad being Saturn, the authoritarian, with mum who's the artist. Everybody's having a good, convivial, open conversation.
Uh, So are
Whereas,
you so are you looking at where it is at the moment? How do we
yeah,
see where it is at the moment? How can we
an,
see that?
an ephemeris, I would have to do a chart.
Okay.
I'll put that in the group. But this is just taken from 0 Aries to help a visual to see what the aspects actually are. And these little symbols here are the signs. So if you look at your chart, you'll see these signs, and that will represent the conjunction, the opposition, the trine. And the trine is a triangle because it's the same element, or water, air, or earth. Opposition, well, 2 dots with a line through it because they're opposing each other. And a square because it's 90 degrees. And a sextile is 60 degrees. So it's 2 signs away.
And how
How's
do we,
that?
could you just remind us how to overlay what's happening now to what's in our chart? That's on the astro.com, isn't it?
Yeah, if you go into, I'll have to get that up. Right. I have I have to get that up and I've forgotten how to do that.
So if we go to astro.com,
Yeah, yeah, no, I just had to open it and I was clicking on it, it wouldn't open. So my internet allegedly. Right. So I'm using mine like I always do. So we go into extended chart selection. So you select your chart, you go into extended chart selection, and you go down and you look for transits. There we go. Natal and transits. Okay. So that'll put your chart and what's in the sky. And then the date is today. And you go show the chart. And the green ones around the outside here, that's where everything is in the sky. And this on the inside, this is my chart. And this is where everything is. So I've just had Pluto go over my Venus. It's going to go over my descendant. Mars is in my 7th house, along with the Sun, along with Venus, along with Mercury, and along with the North Node, all in my 7th. Then we go over and there's Saturn and Neptune. That's here. But my moon is actually down here. But because I've got so much here, that it's actually down here. So this is in my 8th house here. Chiron is in my 8th house here. And the Uranus is sitting on top of my North Node, and it's about to go into my 10th house and stay there and eventually go over my Jupiter. Jupiter at the
I think,
moment is in my
sorry,
12th house.
sorry, Sue. I think this would be really great to open this up on every because all this year it's all about each sign. I think this would be really great to have your own chart and then click it with transits. I've just clicked a button. It says with transits or without transits,
With
and that
transit.
all the green planets have popped up. So I
Yeah,
think this would be really valuable
yeah,
each class that we come to.
yeah. So the one thing that isn't going to change much are the outer planets, but all the inner planets will move. And if you look down here, there you go, there's a list of where the transits are. And here's your list of all of my aspects. So there's an opposition, there's a conjunction, there's a trine. No, that's a sextile, sorry, that's a trine. There are these ones, but ignore them because that's a sesquiquadrate and that's a semisextile and that's a quintile. So and biquintile. So there are lots of other aspects, but don't hesitate, don't trouble yourself with them.
That
Get
this is going a bit. My brain's getting
Yep,
fried a bit, but
yep,
I mean
absolutely.
I'm more visual personally, so to see all the green planets around my chart, I'm finding that really, really helpful
So
as you talk about it. So maybe
yep.
Oriana, maybe that would help you too.
So this is
Yeah.
the first house. So this is Aries house, and that's Taurus's house, and that's Gemini's house, that's Cancer's house. But my ascendant, there's Earth in the middle. So I may not have a planet in Aries, but I have a house that is ruled by Aries, and that's the 9th house because the division is there. So we may not have something in a sign, and especially if you've got a stellium like I do, but it doesn't mean that you're lacking in Aries. Big subject.
Amazing,
It's a
certainly,
huge subject and it's
and
confusing. But that's
massive.
why I
And
can't hesitate more. Know your chart.
it's the thing you keep saying every day, every
Yep.
single time.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Sue.
I can't sort of like say it enough because
That's it. And
you will learn by your chart.
perfect. And Oriana, please bring it to the WhatsApp group and everybody where Sue helps us between the classes. And it
Mm.
is massive. And I feel we've already been through the whole first year, and I feel like it's just kind of blending in to my brain now after a year. It's it's a massive subject, and it's just beginning to solidify with me anyway. So be patient with yourself, and don't beat yourself up if you're finding it difficult. That would be normal. But please, Oriana, keep asking Sue in the group where she's been so generous in the group to guide us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
It is much, it makes, it's easier to make sense of it, seeing what you're talking about. So the visual of the those relationships is helpful, and seeing your chart and hearing you talk through, seeing what you're talking through is the thing that helps. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, I've been at this since I was 16, but my north node is here in Taurus. My south node is in Scorpio. So anything to do with the occult sciences, I'm like, yeah, I understand that. I find this stuff relatively easy because my south node possibly is down here sitting on Neptune and my IC. So anything to do with the occult sciences, I think, oh yeah, crystals, tarot, astrology, numbers. Yeah, for me, it's very, very familiar. So that could be past
Amazing.
life stuff. Who knows?
Amazing. So we have come to the top of the hour again.
Hmm.
It wished by with so much information. Thank you so much, Sue. It's been absolutely intense and amazing and driven and amazing and detailed. And thank you everybody for joining us on this class. For
Hmm.
anybody listening on record, please remember that you can drop in on any class and drop into the WhatsApp group at any time. You are where you are and start learning from exactly that point. You don't have to watch all last year's recordings or every class that Sue's offering on this year. Just drop in when it's right for you and come into the WhatsApp group and get Sue's guidance as you go.
Use my cold.
And well done, Sue. You've got a cold at the
You're
moment. So
welcome.
well
Yeah.
done. Big well done for you today to show up and guide us under that struggle. Thank you so much. So thank you everybody for joining us. Do sign up for the next one and come straight into the WhatsApp group where Sue guides you. Does anybody want to ask Sue any more questions before we split?
Nope. Cool.
No, and Sue
Oh,
says,
Ariana, yes. What?
No, just
What
to
can I
say
do for you?
thank you to both of
Oh,
you.
right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. No bother.
fantastic. And Rose says, thanks, Sue. Found this very interesting. Lots to learn. Absolutely, absolutely. So
Yep. And just
thank
when
you.
you think you've got it down, something will pop up and go, ah, no.
You haven't got it at all.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Sue. It's been absolutely revelationary. Thank you so
You're
much. And I'll
welcome.
see you on the next one. I'll see you in the WhatsApp group. Thank you, everybody. And Sue, how would you like to sign off today?
Well, thanks for coming along and Taurus next time. And, I can have difficulty with some Taurus. I get on better with an Aries energy than a Taurus, but hey, I'll share that next time. So hold that thought.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sue. Brilliant. And thank
You're
you, everybody,
welcome.
for joining us. See you in the WhatsApp group. Bye for now.
Toodles.